Okay, today for the demo, we're going to make some little hand mirrors. We're going to turn the backs and do the mirrors and the handles. And that'll be the project. Today I'm using 5/4 maple. You can use 3/4 lumber, but what happens is it's a little bit thinner. This is 5/4, this is 3/4 wood. And you can see, so you have to take in consideration when you're doing the 3/4 one, some of your dimensions you have to work on to get your handle correct. Okay. So I'll skip a couple of steps that we don't need to show today. And the first step is I've already cut out my blank, and I cut it out as wide as the board would allow me. So this board was 1x6. It's actually a little bit wider than 1x6. And I just cut a circle. Then I've drawn another circle centered on it. This is my glue block that I'm going to attach it to the lathe with. And I've cut it, and the way I do it is I'll draw the line just a little bit wider than the glue block so I can see the line all the way around. And that's how I center it. Doesn't have to be perfectly centered, because once I start turning it, it's going to true up to the glue block. So the first thing I'll do is I use crazy glue to attach it. Crazy glue works real good, it's fast, but its shear is not good. So if you would get a bad catch, it could shock it and it could come off. But things come off of lathes all the time. If you come in close on the glue block, I'll show you what I should have showed you before. Was the glue block has a little flat surface here, and then I've dished it out in the center, so the only part touching the part will be this outer edge. You should line up the grain with the grain, and then sort of center it as close as I can get. I'll just hold it for a little bit. You can use a little activator. Any moisture will activate it. You see, that's already locked on right now. So we'll go over to the wood lathe and start turning. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn this round, and that'll true everything up to the center line. And then I'm going to take out the center to fit this mirror, about like that. Okay, before we start, a little safety. You should wear a mask, some type of face shield. When you turn on the lathe, you shouldn't have long sleeves, because if it catches, it'll pull you into the lathe. It's not a good deal. When I start, I'm going to bring my tailstock up to the front, up to the piece, so that I'll be holding it on both sides initially. The thing I want to do is I want to make sure we're clear and it looks good. I'll start it. Then I'm going to turn this around, and you can see it's not round. That bounces. It'll be nice and smooth when it's round. I'm going to go just a little bit deeper so I can round this curve a little. Occasionally it's sort of hard to get the mirror out. Now I'm going to dish the center right here so that my only contact point with the mirror will be along the outer edge. I'm going to turn this inside edge down a little bit and also the outside edge. Work on that edge a little bit more. Had a little bit of a check right there. Right now I'm going to sand these inside surfaces and right here, and I'll put a little finish on there. So you want to sand slow. I like to start at 400, then when I finish with that I go back to my 80 and start again. But here's 120. I go to 280 from there. Then I'll go to 400. Those are the ones I use because those are the ones I have. So, yeah. So we'll stop and give it a look-see. And it looks pretty good. So I'm going to put a little finish on now. So I have a little finish mixture here. It's 1/3 isopropyl alcohol, 1/3 shellac, and 1/3 boiled linseed oil. I'm going to use a paper towel because if you use a cloth towel and it gets caught, it'll pull you on through. This will just tear. As it sets, you can feel the heat through the paper towel. I'm really just doing the face. You know it's set when you can't hold your finger against it anymore. You have to be cautious with these because it has petroleum products in it. You don't want to toss them in a garbage can. They might spontaneously catch on fire. So I keep them on a piece of metal and I let them dry. And you can see, so I finished just the face here and a little bit of the front. What I need to do now is some of the finish got in on this area right here where I'm going to be siliconing the mirror to the base. So I have to clean that up because I don't want it to go onto that finish. It might not stick well. Just a very light touch, just to make sure that you get the finish off. Now we're going to move over and take the glue block off and we'll reverse it. Okay, so now we'll knock the block off. Just like that. So I've put my glue block back onto the chuck. I'm just going to clean it up for the next time I need to use it. Okay, so we've taken it off of the glue block. I'm going to reverse it and put it on this one. If you don't have wide jaws, there's several ways you can attach it. You can do it on a jam chuck. That would fit, but it would be very shallow. You could do it on a, you could glue it, you could do it on a vacuum. And they also have the ones that, with the nuts on it that scroll down. So you can use a chuck that's similar to this, where it goes in, then you tighten it up, and it locks it in. You would need to stick it out a little bit, so you could work on it. These are, they don't hold that tight, so you have to be, you can't do aggressive cuts on it. But I got this, so I was planning on doing several of them, so I got the jaws, so I could do a 5-inch hole. So I'm going to true up the back, taper it to the outside a little bit, and then I'll round the top edge. Large flat surface. I use an eraser with a little cushion on it. Once I finish sanding it, I'll go back, line up my grain, And I'm going to do some passes with the grain to take out any swirling that might show on this back surface. We're going to put the finish on the back of it. We'll do this at a higher speed because it's a friction finish. You notice I put a towel on my the bed of my lathe. That's to keep this finish off of the bed. You can do multiple layers. You can let this heat up and dry and then put another layer on and do a build up on it. Now we're going to drill the hole for the handle. This side. You can come over around this side. So, are we on? Okay. Everybody sees me reaching for my tools and they always ask me how I hold them. I have magnets from computers. So they're just rare earth magnets. And it leaves my tools right where I need them. And they're easy to get to. That's it. The hole for the handle. And we have to make sure we don't come out on this side. And if you do, you just take a chisel once it's dried and clean it up. But I'm going to take my calipers and I'm going to set them right in here. And I'm going to decide where I want my handle to be. I think I want it right here. And I'll go on the outside. I make a little pencil mark right there. So my drill bit has to be on this side of that pencil mark when I drill it. All right. This is my drilling setup. For your drill bit, you want a brad point bit because on a curved surface, if you don't have the brad point, the bit will drift off and you won't get a straight hole. This is just 90 degree, it's held down, and I've got a 45 here so that it holds my mirror backing straight up and down. When you set it up, you want to make sure, and right now if you look, you can see that my drill bit, come around this side, my drill bit is not lined up with my center line. So I'm going to adjust it. So it could be as far out as this, and then your handle would not be in the center of your piece. Right there, okay? So I mark a line along the top, right here, so I know about where the edge of my mirror is. And I've set the depth to how long I want my post on the handle to be. See, that one came through just a little bit, but we'll fix that. Now I'm going to check on the depth of my post hole with my caliper. And I'll make my post just a little shy of that. So we'll move to the lathe next. Okay, so my handle, this piece is a little bit over 8 inches long. I have to make a post to go into the mirror, about that long. So I'll use this piece. I'm going to go give myself a little leeway on the end. and make a mark right there. I know how long I want my handle to be, so I'll go from that point down and put that there. This has already been measured out for the other ones I've been doing. Just turn it. The first part I'm going to do is the post. I also have my calipers set up for the diameter of the drill bit. I did it on the shank of the drill bit. If you use these calipers for this, you want to take the calipers and you want to file the ends round. You don't want sharp calipers when you're doing this, or pointy. Come on this side. Can you see the caliper? You want to come straight down on it? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little step to fit up against the bottom of the mirror. I'm going to define the end of my handle. I'm going to do a little sanding. Okay. Just turn that off before I put a towel under it. I'm just putting pressure on it to build up heat to help dry that alcohol out and dry the shellac. I'm feeling something right there. I must have a little divot. You noticed I didn't go in too deep on this side. This is one I did, and it just sheared off while I was turning it. So you want to keep a little meat back here until you get to this point. We'll do that like right over here. I'm just clearing enough space in there for me to work on. I put my hands around it so it doesn't fling off. So once I got it off the lathe, I took a little sandpaper and cleaned up the end, and just used the paper towel with the finish on it and just wiped it on the end. I'm going to cut this end off now. Camphor the edges. Okay, now we'll fit it. I'm pretty big, I'm a little tight on it. So, I'm twisting this as I run my sandpaper across it. So I'm mixing up 5-minute epoxy. You want to make sure it's nice and mixed, fairly fresh. I had some old stuff that was not doing well. And what I do is I've taken a popsicle stick and just trim the edges a little bit. I just put some on the inside.